Very good. Well, thank you. Whoever might watch this in the future on Facebook Live, this is our first meeting to deal with Shakespeare and taking the bull by the horns, or we're going straight to the good stuff. I'm going to work on Hamlet today. Be a little forgiving for us. This is an experiment, a work in progress for sure, but we're here. And
Don't
well,
going to
mhm.
be different characters or take it a page at a time?
uh, you just read. No, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do, each person will read in turn, and
Okay,
you can read as much as you want. If you think you can do different character voices while you're reading, please
okay,
feel free. I think I'll make such an attempt. Will I be consistent at it? Who knows? We'll find out. But anyway, and we'll read the stage directions also.
okay.
Okay, so we're going to start Act One, Scene One, Elsinore, a platform before the castle. We're going to be reading this a scene at a time, and after we finish a scene, we'll stop and discuss it a little bit and all that stuff. All right, so we have Francisco at his post. Enter to him Bernardo. Bernardo. Who's there? Francisco. Nay, answer me. Stand and unfold yourself. Bernardo. Long live the king. Francisco. Bernardo? Bernardo. He. Francisco. You come most carefully upon your hour. Bernardo. Now 'tis now struck 12. Get thee to bed, Francisco. Francisco. For this relief, much thanks. 'Tis bitter cold, and I am sick at heart. Bernardo. Have you had quiet guard? Not a mouse stirring. Well, good night. If you do meet Horatio and Marcellus, the rivals of my watch, bid them make haste. I think I hear them. Stand ho! Who's there? Enter Horatio and Marcellus. Horatio. Friends to this ground. Marcellus. And liegemen to the Dane. Francisco. Give you good night. Marcellus. Oh, farewell, honest soldier. Who hath relieved you? Francisco. Bernardo has my place. Give him good night. Exit. Next reader.
Okay. Marcellus. Hola, Bernardo. 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 Say, what is Horatio? What is Horatio there? Horatio. A bit of him. Bernardo. Welcome, Horatio. Welcome, good Marcellus. Marcellus. But has this thing appeared again tonight? What has this thing appeared again tonight? Bernardo, I have seen nothing. Marcellus. Horatio says 'tis but our fantasy, and will not let belief take hold of him, touching this dreaded sight twice seen of us. Therefore I have entreated him along with us to watch the minutes of the night, that if again this apparition come, he may approve our eyes and speak to it. Horatio. Tush, tush, 'twill not appear. Bernardo. Sit down a while, and let us once again assail your ears that are so fortified against our story that we 2 nights have seen. Horatio. Well, sit we down and let us hear Bernardo speak of this. Bernardo. Last night of all, when yon same star that westward from the pole had made his course to illumine that part of heaven where now it burns, Marcellus and myself, the bell then beating one. Next, please.
Enter Ghost. Marcellus. Peace, break thee off. Look, where it comes again. Bernardo. In the same figure, like the king that's dead. Marcellus. Thou art a scholar. Speak to it, Horatio. Bernardo. Looks it not like the king? Mark it, Horatio. Horatio. Most like. It harrows me with fear and wonder. Bernardo, it would be spoke to. Marcellus, question it, Horatio. Horatio, what art thou that usurped this time of night, together with that fair and warlike form in which the majesty of buried Denmark did sometimes march? By heaven, I charge thee, speak. Marcellus, it is offended. Bernardo, see, it stalks away. Horatio, stay, speak, speak, I charge thee, speak. Exit ghost. Marcellus, 'tis gone, and will not answer. Bernardo, how now, Horatio? You tremble and look pale. Is not this something more than fantasy? What think you on't? Horatio, before my God, I might not this believe without the sensible and true vouch of mine own eyes. Marcellus, is it not like the king? Horatio, as thou art to thyself. Such was the very armor he had on when he had the ambitious Norway combated. So frowned he once, when, in an angry parle, he smote the sledded Polacks on the ice. 'Tis strange. Marcellus, this device before, and jump at this dead hour. Oh, this twice before, and jump at this dead hour. With martial stalk hath he gone by our watch. Next.
Horatio, in what particular thought to work I know not, but in the gross and scope of my opinion, this bodes some strange eruption to our state. Marcellus, good now, sit down and tell me, he that knows, why this same strict and most observant watch so nightly toils the subject of the land, and why such daily cast of brazen cannon, and foreign mart for implements of war, why such impress of shipwrights whose sore task does not divide the Sunday from the week, what might be toward, that this sweaty haste doth make the night joint labour with the day, who isn't yet, that can inform me. Horatio, that can I, at least the whisper goes on. Our last king, whose image even but now appeared to us, was, as you know, by Fortinbras of Norway. There too, pricked on by a mote, emulate pride, dared to the combat, in which a valiant Hamlet, for so this side of our known world esteemed him, did slay this Fortinbras, who by sealed compact, well ratified by law and heraldry, did forfeit with his life all those his lands, which he stood seized of to the conqueror. Against the wish a moiety competent was gauged by our king, which had returned to the inheritance of Fortinbras. Had he been vanquisher, as by the same covenant and courage of the article designed, he fell to Hamlet. Now, sir, young Fortinbras, of unimproved metal hot and full, hate in the skirts of Norway here and there, sharked up a list of lawless resolutes for food and diet to some enterprise that hate a stomach in it, which is no other, as it doth well appear unto our state, but to recover of us by strong hand and terms compulsory those foresaid lands, so by his father lost, and this, I take it, is the main motive of our preparations, the source of this our watch, and the chief head of this post haste and rummage in the land. Next, please.
Bernardo, I think it be no other, but e'en so well may it sort that this portentous figure comes armed through our watch, so, like the king, that was and is the question of these wars. Horatio, as mote to the trouble the mind's eye in the most high and palmy state of Rome, a little ere the mightiest Julius fell, the gravest stood tenantless, and the sheeted dead did squeak and gibber to the Roman streets, as stars with trains of fire and dews of blood, disasters in the sun and the moist star, upon whose influence Neptune's empire stands, was sick almost to doomsday with glimpse, and even like the precursor of feared events, as harbingers preceding still the fates, and prologue to the omen coming on, have heaven and earth together demonstrated unto our climatures and countrymen. Enter Ghost. But soft, behold, lo, where it comes again. I'll cuss it through it, blast me. Stay, illusion! If thou hast any sound or use of voice, speak to me. If there be any good thing to be done that may to thee do ease and grace to me, speak to me. If thou art privy to thy country's fate, which happily foreknowing may avoid, O speak, or if thou hast abhorred in thy life, exalted treasure in the womb of earth, for which they say you spirits oft walk in death, speak of it. The cock crows. Stay and speak. Stop it, Marcellus! Next, please.
Marcellus, shall I strike at it with my partisan? Horatio, do if it will not stand. Bernardo, 'tis here. Horatio, 'tis here. Exit Ghost. Marcellus, 'tis gone. We do it wrong, being so majestical, to offer it the show of violence, for it is as the air invulnerable, and our vain blows malicious mockery. Bernardo, it was about to speak when the cock crew. Horatio, and then it started like a guilty thing upon a fearful summons. I have heard the cock, that is the trumpet to the morn, doth with his lofty and shrill sounding throat awake the god of day, and at his warning, whether in sea or fire, in earth or air, the extravagant and erring spirit hies to his confine, and of the truth herein this present object made probation. Marcellus, it faded on the crowing of the cock. Some say that ever 'gainst that season comes wherein our Saviour's birth is celebrated, the bird of dawning singeth all night long, and then they say no spirit dares stir abroad. The nights are wholesome, then no planets strike, no fairy takes, nor witch hath power to charm. So hallowed and so gracious is that time. Horatio, so have I heard, and do in part believe it. But look, the morn in russet mantle clad walks o'er the dew of yon high eastward hill. Break we our watch up, and by my advice, let us impart what we have seen tonight unto young Hamlet. For upon my life, this spirit dumb to us will speak to him. Do you consent we shall acquaint him with it, as needful in our loves, fitting our duty? Next.
I'll read that last little smidget there.
Oh, let's do it, I pray. And I this morning know where we shall find him most conveniently.
Okay, great. And so we'll stop and go over, talk a little bit about this first scene here.
Ah, it's the first scene. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I know I've got a couple of things on my mind about it.
Well,
But
they're scared. They're scared shitless, pardon my French. And so would I be if I met the King of Denmark that had just died and he full in his armor.
yeah, you
I
betcha.
would, yeah, I would. Of course I would.
Wow. That's went fast. Mhm.
One of the things that strikes me is the larger frame that this is in. That the reason that they're really on watch is because they're preparing for an attack sometime in the future from young Fortinbras, who wants to revenge his father's defeat.
Hmm.
So everybody's on edge anyway, even before a ghost appears. Mr. Kennedy, you have anything in your annotations that is particularly pertinent to the day? You need to turn on your microphone if you're going to speak, though.
I'm just looking at the words that have annotations in terms of their usage, which is slightly different than our own.
Mm-hmm.
But I think most of it's understandable without going through them one by one.
I would say that the one that might be useful is the definition of partisan. Shall I strike at it with my partisan?
Which where are we at? We're on the page
That's
you just finished?
Marcellus. That's Marcellus.
Yeah.
Speak, stay and speak. Stop it, Marcellus.
The notes say that a partisan is a pike. So he's carrying a pike.
Okay, a pike being a spear-like thing with.
Yes, right, with a hook on it or something like that. Yeah. One other thing that the word rivals, the rivals of my watch in old usage, that just meant companions, not as we use the term today.
Okay. I had
Someone
actually interpreted that as the watch relief guys.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
So, well, the other thing that came to me is we have early proof that Hamlet is a fighter.
Because he killed somebody.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
dared to combat in which our valiant Hamlet, for so this side of the known world esteemed him, did slay this Fortinbras. So Hamlet himself displayed the rival king.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Where's that, Duncan?
I wish I could tell you the page number. I think I'm gonna have to get a paper copy because I'm reading
Well,
from
yeah.
I'm reading from my
I just was seeing that.
it's
Line 85,
Four.
or yeah. So if that helps, I don't know if the lines are all the same, but
Yeah. Horatio's speech right after Marcellus. Who can that inform me? And then a third of the way down, he says, in which our valiant Hamlet, for so this side of our known world esteemed him. Did slay this Fortinbras.
okay, and that's important to me because in my neglect, I pretty much had Hamlet as a student.
Well, I think that the young Hamlet was a student,
He
but
is.
it says also, the next line says, did slay this Fortinbras, who by a sealed compact, well ratified by law and heraldry, did forfeit with his life all his lands where he stood seized of to the conqueror. So that means Hamlet said that Hamlet that just died was now the king of Norway as well as the king of Denmark. And if they could find a champion that would slay him, that meant now the king of Norway was now the king of Norway and Denmark. So there was a lot at stake, really.
Right. So are we saying that what was the father's name? What was the king's name? Hamlet's father's name.
He was Hamlet as well, I think.
I think so too. Yeah.
Right. That's why it's confusing a bit in that so it is the father, the ghost, who slayed the Norwegian king and inherited all of the lands, and now
Yes.
Hamlet Jr. Has inherited it from his father, being the son, but he was not the warrior that his father was.
Okay. Well, I'm glad I
Yeah.
spoke up and got corrected in that one.
I mean, yeah, Hamlet, the junior is a student.
And he's also a player with the, he also fights. because later on when they have the the fight with Laertes, it's brought out that, oh, I'm in good stand, he tells his friend Horatio, I can handle it. I've been practicing or whatever. So consider himself a fighter.
Okay. All right.
Now, there's a little bit of a fly in the ointment, though, because Hamlet Jr. hasn't got thrown yet because his uncle has married his mother.
Right.
Mother, yeah, after 2 months.
That's a huge fly in the ointment. All right. Any other comments, questions, or shall I begin scene 2?
Scene 2.
All right. Scene 2. Elsinore, a room of state in the castle. Enter the king, queen, Hamlet, Polonius, Laertes, Voltimand, Cornelius, lords in attendant. King Claudius. Though yet of Hamlet, our dear brother's death, the memory be green, and that it us befitted to bear our hearts in grief, and our whole kingdom to be contracted in one brow of woe. Yet so far has discretion fought with nature, that we with wisest sorrow think on him together with remembrance of ourselves. Therefore our sometime sister, now our queen, the imperial jointress to this warlike state, have we its twere with a defeated joy, with an auspicious and one dropping eye, with mirth and funeral, and with dirge and marriage, in equal scale, weighing delight and dole. Taken to wife, have we therein barred your better wisdoms, which are freely gone with this fair alone? Or all our thanks. Now follows that you know young Fortinbras, holding a weak supposal of our worth, or thinking by our late brother's death our state to be disjoint and out of frame, colleagued with this dream of his advantage, he hath not failed to pester us with message. Next reader, please.
Reporting the surrender of those lands lost by his father with all bands of law to our most valiant brother. So much for him. Now for ourselves and for this time of meeting, thus much the business is, we have here writ to Norway, uncle of young Fortinbras, who, impotent and bedrid, scarcely hears of this his nephew's purpose to suppress his further gait herein, in that the levies, the lists and full proportions are all made out of his subject. And here we dispatch you, good Cornelius, and you, Voltimand, for bearers of this greeting to old Norway, giving to you no further personal power to business with the king more than the scope of these dilated articles allow. He gives the paper. Farewell, and let your haste commend your duty. Colonel Voltimand. In that and in all things will we show our duty. King, we doubt it nothing. Heartily farewell. Exit Voltimand and Cornelius. And now, Laertes, what's the news with you? You told us of some suit. What is't, Laertes? You cannot speak of reason to the Dane and lose your voice. But wouldst thou beg, Laertes, that shall not be my offer nor thy asking? The head is not more native to the heart, the hand more instrumental to the mouth than is the throne of Denmark to my father. What wouldst thou have, Laertes? Bill.
Laertes, my dread lord, your leave and favor to return to France, from whence, though willingly I came to Denmark to show my duty to your coronation, yet now I must confess that duty done, my thoughts and wishes bend again toward France, and bow them to your gracious leave and pardon. King, have you your father's leave? What says Polonius? Polonius, he hath, my lord, wrung from me my slow leave by laborsome petition, and at last upon his will I sealed my hard consent. I do beseech you, give him leave to go. King. Take thy fair hour, Laertes, time be thine, and thy best graces spend it at thy will. But now, my cousin Hamlet and my son, Hamlet, aside, a little more than kin and less than kind. King. How is it that the clouds still hang on you? Hamlet. Not so, my lord. I am too much in the sun. Queen. Good Hamlet, cast thy nighted colour off, and let thine eyes look like friend on Denmark. Do not forever with thy veiled lids seek for thy noble father in the dust. Thou knowest 'tis common, all that lives must die, passing through nature to eternity. Hamlet. Ay, madam, it is common. Queen. If it be, why seems it so particular with thee? Hamlet. Seems, madam? Nay, it is. I know not seems. 'Tis not alone my inky cloak, good mother, nor customary suits of solemn black, nor windy suspiration of forced breath, no, for the fruitful river in the eye, nor for the dejected flavor of the visage, together with all forms, moods, shapes of grief, for they are actions that a man might play, that can denote me truly. These indeed seem, for they are actions that a man might play, but I have that within which pathos show, these but the trappings and the suits of woe. King. 'Tis sweet and commendable in your nature, Hamlet, to give these mourning duties to your father, but you must know your father lost a father. That father lost his, and the survivor, bound in filial obligation for some term, to do obsequious sorrow. But to persevere in obstinate condolement is a course of impious stubbornness. 'Tis unmanly grief. It shows a will most incorrect to heaven, a heart unfortified, a mind impatient and understanding simple and unschooled. For what we know must be and is as common as any, the most vulgar thing to sense. Why should we, in our peevish opposition, take it to heart? Fie! 'Tis a fault to heaven, a fault against the dead, a fault to nature, to reason most absurd, whose common theme is death of fathers, and who still hath cried from the first course till that died today, this must be so. We pray you, throw to earth this unprevailing woe, and think of us as a father. For let the world take note, you are the most immediate to our throne, and with no less nobility of love than that which dearest father bears his son, do I impart towards you. For your intent in going back to school in Wittenberg, it is most retrograde in our desire, and we beseech you, bend you to remain here in the cheer and comfort of our eye, our chiefest courtier, cousin, and our son. Next.
Queen. Let not thy mother lose her prayers, Hamlet. I pray thee, stay with us. Go not to Wittenberg. Hamlet. I shall in all my best obey you, madam. King. Why? 'Tis a loving and a fair reply. But as ourself in Denmark, madam, come, this gentle and unforced accord of Hamlet sits smiling to my heart in grace whereof no Jackson health that Denmark drinks today. But the great cannon to the clouds shall tell, and the king roused to heaven shall bruit again, bespeaking earthly thunder. Come away. Flourish. Exit all but Hamlet. Hamlet. Oh, that this too solid flesh would melt, thaw, and resolve itself into a dew. Or that the everlasting had not fixed his cannon against self-slaughter. Oh God, God, how weary, stale, flat, and unprofitable seem to me all the uses of this word. Fe on a fi, 'tis an unweeded garden, that grows to seed. Things rank and gross in nature possess it merely, that it should come to this. But 2 months dead, nay, not so much, not 2, so excellent a king that was, to this Hyperion to a sceptre, so loving to my mother that he must not beteem the winds of heaven, visit her face too roughly. Heaven and earth must I remember, why, she would hang on him, as if increase of appetite had grown, but what it fed on, and yet, within a month, let me not think on this frailty. Thy name is woman. A little month, or ere those shoes were old, with which she followed my poor father's body, like Niobe all tears. Why she, even she, O God, a beast that once discourse of reason, would have mourned longer, married with my uncle, my father's brother, but no more like my father than I to Hercules within a month. Ere yet the salt of most unrighteous tears had left the flushing in her gold eyes, she married. O most wicked speed to post with such dexterity to incestuous sheets! It is not, nor it cannot come to good, but break my heart, for I must hold my tongue. Enter Horatio, Marcellus, and Bernardo. Jim,
Horatio, hail to your lordship. Hamlet, I am glad to see you well, Horatio. Or do I forget myself? Horatio, the same, my lord, and your poor servant ever. Hamlet, sir, my good friend, I'll change that name with you. And what makes you from Wittenberg, Horatio? Marcellus? Marcellus, my good lord. Hamlet, I am very glad to see you. To Bernardo, good even, sir. To Horatio, but what in faith make you from Wittenberg? Horatio, a truant disposition, good my lord. Hamlet, I would not hear your enemy say so, nor shall you do my ear that violence, to make it truster of your own report against yourself. I know you are no truant, but what is your affairs in Elsinore? We'll teach you to drink deep ere you depart. Horatio, my lord, I came to see your father's funeral. Hamlet, I prithee, do not mock me, fellow student. I think it was to see my mother's wedding. Horatio, indeed, my lord, it followed hard upon. Hamlet, thrift, thrift, Horatio, the funeral baked meats did coldly furnish forth the marriage tables. Would I had met my dearest foe in heaven, or ever I had seen that day, Horatio. My father, methinks I see my father. Horatio, where, my lord? Hamlet, in my mind's eye, Horatio. Horatio, I saw him once. He was a goodly king. Hamlet, he was a man. Take him for all in all. I shall not look upon his like again. Horatio, my lord, I think I saw him yesternight. Hamlet, saw who? Horatio, my lord, the king, your father. Hamlet, the king? My father? Horatio, season your admiration for a while with an attent ear, till I may deliver upon the witness of these gentlemen. Hamlet, for God's love let me hear. Horatio, 2 nights together had these gentlemen, Marcellus and Bernardo, on their watch, in the dead waste and middle of the night, being thus encountered. A figure like your father, armed to point exactly cap a pee, appears before them, and with solemn march goes slow and stately by them. Thrice he walked by their oppressed and fear-surprised eyes, within his truncheon's length, whilst they distilled almost to jelly with the act of fear. Stand dumb and speak not to him, this to me, in dreadful secrecy impart they did, and I with them the third night kept the watch, where as they had delivered, both in time, form of the thing each word made true and good. The apparition comes. I knew your father. Those hands are not more like. Hamlet. But where was this? Marcellus. My lord, upon the platform where we watch. Hamlet. Did you not speak of it? Horatio. My lord, I did. The answer The answer made it none, yet once methought it lifted up its head and did address itself to motion, like as if it would speak. But even then the morning cock crew loud, and at the sound it shrunk in haste away, and vanished from our sight. Hamlet. 'Tis very strange. Horatio. As I do live, my honoured lord, 'tis true. And we did think it writ down in our duty to let you know of it. Hamlet. Indeed, sirs, but this troubles me. Hold you the watch tonight? All. We do, my lord. Next, please.
You have to turn on your
Don't get me wrong,
microphone,
Dave.
Penny. There are magical things in the play, but not that magical.
So back up. Armed, you say? Marcellus and Bernardo. Armed, my lord. Hamlet. From top to toe? Marcellus and Bernardo. My lord, from head to foot. Hamlet. Then saw you not his face? Horatio. Oh, yes, my lord. He wore his beaver up. Hamlet. What looked he? Frowningly? Horatio. A countenance more in sorrow than in anger. Hamlet. Pale or red? Horatio. Nay, very pale. Hamlet. And fixed his eyes upon you? Horatio. Most constantly. Hamlet. I would I had been there. Horatio. It would have much amazed you. Hamlet. Very like. Stayed it long? Horatio. While one with moderate haste might tell 100. Marcellus and Bernardo. Longer. Horatio. Not when I saw it. Hamlet. His beard was grizzled, no? Horatio. It was, as I have seen it in my life, a sabled silvered. Hamlet. I will watch tonight. Perchance twill walk again. Horatio. I warrant it will. Hamlet. If it assume my noble father's person, I'll speak to it, though hell itself should gape and bid me hold my peace. I pray you all, if you have hitherto concealed the sight, let it be tenable in your silence still. And whatsoever else shall hap tonight, give it an understanding, but no tongue. I will requite your loves. So fare you well. Upon this platform, twixt 11 and 12, I'll visit you. Horatio, Marcellus, and Bernardo. Our duty to your honor. Hamlet. Your loves as mine to you. Farewell. Exit all but Hamlet. My father, spirit. Spinning arms, spirit in arms, all is not well. I doubt some foul play. Would the night were come. Till then sit still, my soul. Foul deeds will rise, though all the earth o'erwhelm them to men's eyes. Exit. You want to go to the next scene?
No, we'll stop here. I mean, stop here to talk. So, do we have any information about what would have been a normal grieving period in Denmark at that time?
Generally, well, certainly before marriage, it would have been at least a year. Just in, not in Denmark per se, but just in contemporary Europe.
Mm-hmm.
For the queen. I mean, before she would even consider marriage.
Mm-hmm.
But then
look at Stephen Dedalus. He's in mourning for a year. I mean, that was the common
That's true. Mm-hmm.
common
Yeah,
That was
practice.
quite normal.
but without a king, maybe it wouldn't stay in the lineage if she didn't have a husband. Is that a possibility, or would Hamlet have to rise to be the king? The little
I'd say
except
Hamlet would have to rise to be the king.
no, but no, he because Claudius addresses her as jointress, which means that she had joint power with her husband and would have inherited the throne. So she was queen, and that's why Claudius marries her, because through marriage to her he becomes king, not through any legal inheritance of any kind as the brother or anything like that. She was the queen, he marries her, and now is king. Hamlet could have probably assumed the throne at her desire or at her death, but I mean, she may have appointed him such at some time to rule in her stead, but she had the authority to do that.
Yeah, she seems to like him a little.
So it might be a little early to bring this up, and it might not even have a clear answer, but was it a plot between the brother and the queen?
No, absolutely not.
No. No.
So you're gonna
It was
go with
Claudius
the
on his
idea
own.
that it is was it Claudius?
It's Claudius. Claudius.
Claudius is the plotter,
Claudius is the guy.
and Gertrude is
Absolutely.
just the dupe.
Yeah,
But was there something going on between Claudius and the Queen before Hamlet's Senior's death?
I don't think so.
I don't think
Not
so.
from seeing her other scenes that come up later when she's absolutely, doing the Hamlet Queen scene in the end when he accuses her, she's dumbfounded, I think, at that point. Really?
Yeah, it's Gertrude.
Yeah, Gertrude. Yeah, I would think if you look at all the scenes together, you'd see, I think
Okay.
she has no idea.
No, I'm not suggesting that she was involved in the murder plot. I'm just saying, was there a love affair going on between them prior to Hamlet's death?
No, I don't think so. But
I don't think so. I don't know.
Okay.
We can pretend there was,
You can.
but there was.
After all, the king was away at war.
But young Hamlet doesn't want to go back to school, so I think he's suspicious of Claudius. He wants to stay around.
I thought it was exactly the opposite, that Claudius was imploring him to stay and not go back to school.
No,
Claudius says, "Come, please stay."
Right in the very beginning of the scene. Where is it? Where is it? Fortinbras, our late brothers, or William brothers.
He's looking for permission to go to France. It's
Laertes. Laertes wants to go to France.
Laertes, yeah, he's looking to go to France.
Laertes does, yeah, and I've got a question actually about that as well. If the kingdom is threatened by the young Fortinbras, it seems a little odd that Laertes would be given permission to go to France until that was cleared up. Or maybe Laertes, maybe both Hamlet and Laertes are looked as not being part of the warrior group. And so, Laertes is dispensable. He can go back to France to.
I never thought of that. I don't know.
Yeah, I think he's studying in France the way he's at school, the way Hamlet's at Wittenberg. He's in Paris probably.
So the question was Hamlet thinking about going back to Wittenberg?
Yes.
And Claudius asked him, "No, I really don't want you to go back. I need you here for now."
Okay, so Claudius wants to keep an eye on.
And his mother would like him to stay too, but he wanted to go back to Wittenberg.
Okay.
Yeah, the Queen
I
says,
can see it now. Sorry.
I pray thee stay with us, go not to Wittenberg. That's the Queen. So
Mhm.
maybe the King
Okay.
wants to keep in with his new bride and say, yeah, hang on here.
Yeah, well, the king's probably got double motives. One, he wants to satisfy his new bride, and he
Hmm.
wants to keep an eye on Hamlet to make
Young
sure that
Hamlet.
Hamlet
Yeah.
is not thinking bad thoughts. I mean, he's already, this whole thing about why you're still in grieving. I mean, we're only talking 2 months, less
Hmm.
than
Yeah.
2 months. Why are you grieving about your dead father? Um, so that may or may not be an indication that Claudius is worried about Hamlet's state of mind.
I think at this stage, Claudius is probably, and this is the way I read it. I mean, he might be concerned about Hamlet, but I think he's secure enough in his own ambition and power that he sees Hamlet as just this boy, this
Mm-hmm.
he's really not even um, not anything to worry about, not anything to even think about much. But I think maybe it's disturbing the Queen, and so that disturbs him. He would rather the Queen was not worried about Hamlet and able
Mm-hmm.
to attend to him. I could be wrong, but I don't see him. I don't think he sees Hamlet as much of a threat at this stage in the play, or much
Mm-hmm.
of
Mm-hmm.
it. Certainly not as a rival or.
Mm-mm.
And then the other way of looking at it too is that by saying it that way to Hamlet, that this is not a manly thing, it sort of justifies his own actions by saying, why this grief? Sons have lost their fathers throughout history, and the son's duty is to carry on and
Mm-hmm.
such and such. And so, you shouldn't let stop this moody brooding, as Buck
Yeah.
Mulligan would say. And and I think that's where Joyce gets all that. Stop this moody brooding, and that whole thing about between Mulligan and Joyce about Stephen still mourning his mother is extremely reminiscent. And if we consider that Stephen thinks of Mulligan as the usurper, that's Claudius. So I mean, Mulligan is the Claudius to Stephen's Hamlet, at least in the opening episode
Mm-hmm.
of
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Ulysses.
So remind me of how long in that first scene in Ulysses, how long, I mean, I know that Stephen is still wearing mourning stuff, but how long had Mother been dead?
Only a couple of months. I think about the same. I think she died in the spring. I think it's only been a couple of months. Very similar to Hamlet.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Maybe a little bit longer. Was it February when he got the telegram to come home? But then she didn't die immediately, so it might have been March or
No,
April
Mm.
that she died, and then
actually,
now it's June, so a couple of months. Very, very much like Hamlet.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
It's kind of almost amusing when he says it was almost an economical thing to do to be able to serve the meat left over from the funeral to the wedding guests. Yeah.
Yeah, he's very clever.
Yeah.
The funeral baked meats did coldly furnish forth the marriage tables.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's that's pretty cold blood.
Yeah.
It's pretty cold blooded.
And a little more than kin and less than kind. I like that one.
Yeah, he's
Too much in the sun.
Hamlet's canny, and it's the same way that Stephen is. He's got that,
Yeah.
yeah, very.
Yeah, here's that thing, right? Hamlet, let me not think on it. Frailty, thy name is woman. A little month, or ere those shoes were old, with which she followed my poor father's body like Niobe. All tears. Why she, even she?
Shall we press on?
I'm certainly game. I'd like to press on, read one more scene and discuss it before we wrap things up.
Yeah.
So, let me get back to where we was.
Scene 3.
Scene 3, a room in Polonius' house. Enter Laertes and Ophelia. Laertes, my necessaries are embarked. Farewell. And sister, as the winds give benefit and convoy as assistant, do not sleep, but let me hear from you. Ophelia, do you doubt that? Laertes, for Hamlet and the trifling of his favor hold it a fashion, and a toy in blood, a violet in the youth of priming nature, forward, not permanent, sweet, not lasting, the perfume and the suppliance of a moment, not more. Ophelia, not more, but so. Laertes, think it no more, for nature crescent does not grow alone in thews and bulk, but as this temple waxes, the inward service of mind and soul grows wide withal. Perhaps he loves you now, and now no soil nor cottle doth besmirch the virtue of his will, but you must fear his greatness weighed. His will is not his own, for he himself is subject to his birth. He may not, as unvalued people do, carve for himself, for on his choice depends the safety and health of the whole state. Therefore must his choice be circumscribed unto the voice and yielding of that body whereof he is the head. Next reader, please.
Then if he says he loves you, it fits your wisdom so far to believe it, as he in his particular act and place may give his saying deed, which is no further than the main voice of Denmark goes with all. Then weigh what loss your honor may sustain if with too credent ear you list his songs, or lose your heart, or your chaste treasure open to his unmastered importunity. Fear it, Ophelia, fear it, my dear sister, and keep you in the rear of your affection. Out of the shot and danger of desire, the charious maid is prodigal enough if she unmasks her beauty to the moon. Virtue itself escapes not calumnious strokes. The canker galls the infants in the spring too oft before their buttons be disclosed. And in the morn and liquid dew of youth, contagious blasphements are more imminent. Be wary then. Best safety lies in fear. Youth to itself rebels, though none else near. Next, please.
Ophelia, I shall the effect of this good lesson keep as watchman to my heart. But, good my brother, do not, as some ungracious pastors do, show me the steep and thorny way to heaven, whiles, like a puffed and reckless libertine, himself the primrose path of dalliance treads, and recks not his own reed. Laertes, oh, fear me not, stay too long. But here, my father comes. Enter Polonius. A double blessing is a double grace. Occasion smiles upon a second leave. Polonius. Yet here, Laertes? Aboard, aboard, for shame! The wind sits in the shoulder of your sail, and you're stayed for. There, my blessing with thee. And these few precepts in thy memory, See thou character. Give thy thoughts no tongue, nor any unproportioned thought his act. Be thou familiar, but by no means vulgar. Those friends you hast, and their adoption tried, grapple them to thy soul with hoops of steel, but do not dull thy palm with entertainment of each new hatched of unfledged comrade. Beware of entrance to a quarrel, but being in, bear it that the opposed may be beware of thee. Give every man thy ear, but few thy voice. Take each man's censure, but reserve thy judgment. Costly thy habit, as thy purse can buy, but not expressed in fancy, rich, not gaudy, for the apparel oft proclaims the man. And they say in France of the best rank and station are of the most select and generous chief in that. Neither a borrower nor a lender be, for loan oft loses both itself and friend, and borrowing dulls the edge of husbandry. This, above all, to thine own self be true, and it must follow as the night the day, thou canst not then be false to any man. Farewell, my blessing season this in thee. Laertes. Most humbly do I take my leave, my lord. Polonius. The time invites you. Go, your servants tend. Laertes. Farewell, Ophelia, and remember well what I have said to you. Ophelia. 'Tis in my memory locked, and you yourself shall keep the key of it. Laertes. Farewell. He exits. Next, please.
Polonius. Oh,
Polonius.
that's
Sorry.
It's Anne.
Go ahead, sorry.
Okay. You're fine, Penny. Polonius. What is it, Ophelia? He hath said to me. Ophelia. So please you, something touching the Lord Hamlet. Polonius. Marry, well bethought. 'Tis told to me he hate very oft of late, given private time to you and you yourself, have of your audience been most free and bounteous. If it be so, as so 'tis put on me, and that in way of caution I must tell you. You do not understand yourself so clearly, and it behoves my daughter and your honour. What is between you, given me up the truth? Ophelia, he hath, my lord, of late made many tenders of his affection to me. Polonius, affection? Who? You speak like a green girl, unshifted in such perilous circumstances. Do you believe his tenders, as you call them? Ophelia, I do not know, my lord, what I should think. Polonius, marry, I'll teach you. Think yourself a baby, that you have taken these tenders for true pay, which are not sterling. Tender yourself more dearly, or, not to crack the wind of the poor phrase, running as thus, you'll tender me a fool. Ophelia, my lord, he hath importuned me with love in honourable fashion. Polonius, any fashion you may call it. Go to, go to. Ophelia, and hate given countenance to his speech, my lord, with almost all the holy vows of heaven. Polonius, and he swings us to catch woodcocks. I do know. When the blood bursts, how prodigal the soul lends. Lends vows. These blazes, daughter, giving more light than heat, extinct in both. Even in their promise as in a making, you must not take for fire. From this time be something scatter of your maiden presence. Set your entreatments at a higher rate. Then I command to parley. For Lord Hamlet believes so much in him that he is young, and with a larger tither may be tall, walk, than may be given you in few. Ophelia, do not believe his vows, for they are brokers, not of that dye which thou investment show, but mere implorators of unholy suits, breathing like sanctified and pious bawds, the better to beguile. That is for all. I would not in play terms from this time forth have you to slander any moment's leisure, and to give words or talk with the Lord Hamlet. Look to it, I'll charge you. Come your ways. Jim?
Ophelia, I shall obey, my lord.
That's it.
Oh, Glo, sorry. I should have stopped ages ago.
That's all right. Don't worry. It's okay.
I gave you one line. Oh,
I
dear.
shall obey, my
Sorry.
lord.
Exactly.
A
Maybe there's
walk on
something in
heart for sure.
that. Oh, gosh.
That was a short scene there.
Mhm.
Very short. Yeah.
Short,
Poor old
but
Ophelia.
short, but to the point.
Yes, it was.
Mm.
Yes, it was. And I have to say, conventional though both Laertes and Polonius are, you
Right.
know, they're right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting, I mean, it's really a subplot, but it's an interesting one. I mean, there needn't have been Ophelia in the play for that matter, except she's a really remarkable character, but how does it doesn't really um, have much to do with Hamlet's dilemma and
Hmm.
and his uncle Claudius
Oh, yes.
and the resolution of all that, but she suffers from that conflict between Hamlet and his uncle.
Because
And
Hamlet really uses her.
yeah,
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
big time, unmercifully.
yeah. So both Laertes and Polonius are right. Don't trust this guy.
Yeah.
Um, don't believe everything he says.
How does I missed that. I didn't see how Hamlet uses her. It seems like they use Ophelia to get Hamlet to show himself more, with all that secrecy that they have listening while he and Ophelia have a little tete-a-tete.
Yeah, I think
And afterward,
I
and
think
how do
it'll
we
come
get
out of
Hamlet to be killed otherwise, if Laertes isn't mad about the death of his father and Ophelia's death? That's how they end up squalling in the end.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There is, but I think it comes out pretty clearly as we read along how Hamlet has uses Ophelia.
Well, he's mad. He's mad because he knows that Polonius is listening all that time. So then he takes it off on, go to the nunnery and all that stuff. He has that mad scene with her, with Ophelia.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're right, Penny, but we're not there yet.
We're not there yet, but okay, but I just balked at the fact that it could be that Hamlet's using Ophelia. I don't think he does it, intentionally. At this point, he wouldn't be mad at Ophelia for anything.
Oh, yeah. Well, of course, that's the question. I mean, it's the question for all young boys of a superior class that are hitting on girls in the class below them.
Yeah.
And I think as Laertes and maybe even Polonius puts it, I mean, he can sound sincere, and he might actually be sincere, but they know from
Nothing can come of
stories
it.
and experience that it's not going to end well.
Well, it might, but it might end well. But I think that they're correct in seeing, a young prince, even in Britain or whatever, like what's his name?
Lord Randall.
Yeah, I can't remember. Whatever. The Windsors.
Harry,
Oh, yeah.
Prince
William and
William.
Kate and Harry.
No, way back.
Harry and Meghan.
No, he's talking about
Oh, way
Edward.
back.
You're talking about
I'm going back.
Edward
the
and
guy-
Mrs. Simpson.
Yeah,
The guy
yeah,
that married
Before that?
Wallace Simpson.
Wallace Simpson. So,
Yeah.
Edward.
well, his prince, he really fell in love with her, but
Mm.
it's not that, but the state won't allow him to marry her. And Polonius points that out. I mean, he may love you,
Well,
but
sure.
doesn't mean that you're going to be his wife, because he's not the one that's going to make the decision. It's going to
But-
be related to the state
Yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
Denmark.
He's got a role
Mm.
to play, and the
There's
pressures will be huge.
politics.
But it does come out that Gertrude was looking forward to Ophelia being her daughter-in-law. She said, I considered her my daughter already at the funeral.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
So
Yeah.
I think it looks like it could have been part of the family if we hadn't had these other upsets.
Yeah.
That's entirely possible, but I mean, but Polonius's fear and Laertes' fear is based in reality, that very often a prince is going to have to marry the princess from another country for an alliance that the countries need, and not for any question of love or personal desire.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, he has a duty, and that transcends anything that he's going to be able to do personally. So their caution is well taken.
Yeah,
It's well
it would be the norm.
it's well intended, and it's not at all against Hamlet. It's not. They're not. I don't think you can look at them as being enemies of Hamlet
Mm-hmm.
in any way. They're just realists.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. You know, and there was a recent thing in the Japanese royal household, where I think it was one of the princesses gave up her
Yeah,
princessness in order to
That's
go
right.
to New York and with her husband and do other
Yeah.
things.
right.
Her husband, a commoner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I wasn't he brilliant? Never a borrower nor lender be.
Yeah.
But that advice, I've always heard that's kind of foolish advice. I mean,
Never a borrower nor a
Polonius
lender
is
be.
kind of an old fool anyway, ain't he?
He is painted generally as an old fool, but it's amazing how many of his old fool sayings
I'm very,
are used on a regular basis.
Yes,
Mhm.
but well, like those friends thou hast in their adoption tried, grapple them unto thy soul with hoops of steel. I always heard that was unnecessary. If you have your friends and you tried their adoption, you don't need to grapple them under your soul. But maybe I was misinformed. It was it's a different way of reading it, I guess.
Yeah, well, no, he does have a reputation. Polonius does have a reputation of being a cliche
Mm-hmm.
prattler. And
Mm-hmm.
actually, I think we'll come up in a scene in the not too distant future where Gertrude will get a little irritated with his prattling on, and she kind of says, "Come on, Polonius, get to the point, would you?"
It's very, very similar to Sean's advice to Izzy as when he's in the barrel before he's heading across to Europe, as he's going to do. He's giving Izzy the same advice that Laertes gives Ophelia in a way, and that Polonius gives Ophelia.
Polonius gives Laertes. Oh, maybe. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Maybe you're right. I was just thinking of what we're referring to, but the advice he gives to Ophelia.
Right. Yeah. No. Yeah. Neither a borrower, all of that whole thing. That's all to Laertes. That's the
Yeah.
fatherly advice
Mind yourself.
to fatherly advice to a young son, and you can just imagine, you can just feel Laertes saying, "Oh, whatever."
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah. But I get the impression that Polonius is really ready to get Laertes back to France. He just like go.
Well, does he have any ulterior motives? I don't know. We know that Laertes has been pestering him to get permission to go back to France, because
Mhm.
you can't go without the king's permission once you're in court. You have to ask, the court has to allow you to,
Mhm.
king has to allow you to leave. So he's been pestering his father, can't you just get that guy to let me go back to Paris, you know? And so now that he's actually done that, that Polonius has extended himself to ask a favor of the king,
Mhm.
which is a politic thing to do, and you have to be, how many favors can I ask, and when is a good time to, there's all these
Yeah,
things
right,
going on
right.
in Polonius's mind. Now that he's got it, it's like, will you get out of here so the king doesn't see you and wonder why you're still here if you were in such a hurry to go? It's like I think he's
Mhm.
trying to save face with Claudius as much as anything else.
Okay. So let me ask, so we know the marriage was like
Hurried.
hurried, and we know that right now we're a little less than 2 months from the death of the king.
Right.
But when was the coronation?
Uh, well, I suppose that it's time of the wedding, but I don't remember if we haven't been told that, but my assumption is it was at the time of the wedding.
Okay.
I don't
Okay.
remember. I don't know that we find that out. Well, maybe we do later on. I can't recall though. It's been a while since I've read this.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just kind of curious because I'm trying to get, for some reason, I want to have a time sense of how long Laertes just came back for the coronation, just like
No, he came back for the funeral.
came back for
Well,
the,
no, Horatio came back for the
Get
funeral
back for the funeral.
and then stayed for the wedding. And I think
Mm.
Laertes too must have come back for the funeral and then stayed for the coronation and the wedding.
hmm And Horatio, I mean, Laertes just seems to be hanging out, as opposed to Horatio, who seems to already have, he's got work to do there. As long as he's around, he's going to be one of the guards, up on the ramparts and all that kind of stuff.
Well, no, Horatius doesn't have any work to do. He's asked by the watch to come, and the watch tells him, and he's curious, so he goes up there to
Yeah,
to stand
Well,
watch. But he he
okay.
has he has no official
his
duties at
friend.
all. He's just a
Hey,
friend. He's just a friend of Hamlet's, just a courtier.
Mm.
okay. So Sylvia, we have read three of the scenes in the first act, and
Mm.
the
Oh,
procedure has been that we read a scene and then we stop and we talk about it. And
okay.
so
Sorry,
we're
I'm
in
late.
the middle of talking about scene three, which to a large extent is Polonius and Laertes giving advice to Ophelia not to take Hamlet serious. As a matter of fact, Polonius gives her a command to avoid Hamlet as much as possible. So, yeah,
And is one of them her brother? Am I getting this wrong?
Laertes is the
Yeah,
brother.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I haven't done any homework. Okay.
Okay, that's okay. And part of the conversation is that Laertes, who was in France, came back for, I guess, the coronation of the new king. And now he wants to go back to France, and he's about ready to depart for France. But he's also told his sister Ophelia, don't take Hamlet seriously. That Hamlet is just to put it in terms of the day, is a young horny guy who will say anything. But that she shouldn't take him seriously because he is going to be roped into, being a prince and, having to marry as the royalty demands. He can't follow his heart.
Okay.
Okay, so it is 2:21. Are we going to forge ahead for one more scene?
One more scene will finish Act One, if we care to.
Okay, well,
I'm
I've got the time, but if it's pressing, that the time is pressing on anybody, let me know, because we can take our time.
fine
There
with
isn't that
whatever.
much left.
Yes,
Okay,
scene four is not very long.
okay.
No, it's not.
Well, since
Okay, Jim.
Sylvia's here, Sylvia, can you get to Act One, Scene Four, the platform?
Yeah, yeah. I
Okay.
just
You're
my
fine.
addition. Okay. And how are you doing it? Are you taking parts?
No.
No.
We-
You just read until you feel like stopping, and you pass it on.
All
So,
right.
and sometimes in some of the longer speeches, like I think I've stopped twice in the middle of kind of a long piece and passed on the torch. So, it's up to you.
Half
Okay.
page a page, roughly, because there's
Yeah.
7 of us. So
Yeah.
Okay,
Am I
Jim, do you want to go again? Since I only gave you one line. I only gave Jim one line before we just finished.
right, yeah, Jim.
Okay, well, I
Go
kick
for
it
it.
off. So, okay.
Then Penny.
Elsinore, the guard platform of the castle. Enter Hamlet, Horatio, and Marcellus. Hamlet, the air bites shrewdly, it is very cold. Horatio, it is nipping and an eager air. Hamlet, what hour now? Horatio, I think it lacks of 12. Marcellus, no, it is struck. Horatio, indeed, I heard it not. It then draws nearer the season, wherein the spirit held its wont to walk. A flourish of trumpets and cannon shot off. What does this mean, my lord? Hamlet, the king doth wake tonight and takes his rouse, keeps wassail and the swaggering upspring reels, and as he drains his draughts of Rhenish down, the kettledrum and trumpet does bray out the triumph of his pledge. Horatio, is it a custom? Hamlet, aye, marry it's. But to my mind, though, I am native here, and to the manner born it is a custom, more honoured in the breach than in the observance. This heavy-handed revel east and west makes us traduced and taxed of other nations. They clept us drunkards with swinish phrase, soil our addition, and indeed it takes from our achievements, though performed at height, the pith and marrow of our attribute. So oft it chances in particular men that for some vicious mole of nature in them, as in their birth wherein they are not guilty, since nature cannot choose his origin, by the o'ergrown of some complexion of breaking down the pales and forts of reason, or by some habit that too much or evens the form of plausive manners that these men carrying, I say, the stamp of our defect, being nature's livery of fortune's star, is virtued, else be they as pure as grace, as infinite as man may undergo, shall in the general censure take corruption from that particular fault, the dream of evil. Doth all the noble substance of doubt to his own scandal enter ghost. Next,
Okay, so
please.
now Sylvia. Okay, Sylvia, you can go now.
Enter ghost. Horatio. Look, my lord, it comes. Hamlet. Angels and ministers of grace defend us. Be thou a spirit of health or goblin damned. Bring the airs from heaven or blasts from hell. Be thy intense wicked or charitable. Thou comest in such a questionable shape that I will speak to thee. I'll call thee Hamlet. King, father, royal dean, oh, answer me. Let me not burst in ignorance, but tell why thy canonized bones, hearsed in death, have burst their cerements. Why the sepulchre, wherein we saw thee quietly interred, hath oped his ponderous and marble jaws to cast thee up again? What may this mean? That thou, dead corse, again in complete steel, revisits thus the glimpses of the moon, making night hideous, and we fools of nature so hardly to shake our disposition with thoughts beyond the reaches of our souls. Say, why is this? Wherefore? What should we do? Ghost beckons. Horatio. It beckons you to go away with it, as if some impartment it desire to you alone. Next.
Okay, so this would be Penny now.
Okay. Horatio, it beckons you to go away with it, as if it some impartment did desire to you alone. Marcellus, look with what courteous action it waves you to a more removed ground. But do not go with it. Horatio, no, by no means. Hamlet, it will not speak. Then I will follow it. Horatio, do not, my lord. Hamlet, why, what should be the fear? I do not set my life in a pin's fee. And for my soul, what can it do to that? Being a thing immortal as itself, it waves me forth again, I'll follow it. Horatio, what if it tempt you toward the flood, my lord? Or to a dreadful summit of the cliff that beetles o'er his base into the sea, and there assume some other horrible form which might deprive your sovereignty of reason and draw you into madness. Think of it. The very place puts toys of desperation without more motive into every brain that looks so many fathoms to the sea and hears it roar beneath. Hamlet, it waves me still. Go on, I'll follow thee. Next.
Marcellus, you shall not go, my lord. Hamlet, hold off your hands. Horatio, be ruled, you shall not go. Hamlet, my fate cries out and makes each petty artery in this body as hardy as the Neoman's lion's nerve. Ghost beckons. Still I am called. Unhand me, gentlemen. Breaking free from them. By heaven, I'll make a ghost of him that lets me. I say, away. Go on. I'll follow thee. Exit. Ghost and Hamlet. Horatio. He waxes desperate with imagination. Marcellus, let's follow. 'Tis not fit thus to obey him. Horatio. Have after. To what issue will this come? Marcellus. Something is rotten in the state of Denmark. Horatio. Heaven will direct it. Marcellus. Nay, let's follow him. Exit.
So
So
should we read on, or do you want to discuss this?
I think in this case we will read on and then we'll discuss a little bit at the end.
Okay.
Yeah.
Scene
So-
5, Elsinore, the castle, another part of the fortifications. Enter Ghost and Hamlet. Hamlet, whither wilt thou lead me? Speak, I'll go no further. Ghost, mark me. Hamlet, I will. Ghost, my hour is almost come when I to sulphurous and tormenting flames must render up myself. Hamlet, alas, poor Ghost. Ghost, pity me not, but lend thy serious hearing to what I shall unfold. Speak, Hamlet, speak, I am about to hear. Ghost, so art thou to revenge when thou shalt hear. Hamlet, what? I am thy father's spirit, doomed for a certain term to walk the night, and for the day confined to fast in fires, till the foul crimes done in my days of nature are burnt and purged away. But that I am forbid to tell the secrets of my prison house, I could a tale unfold whose lightest word would harrow up thy soul, freeze thy young blood, make thy two eyes like stars start from their spheres, thy knotted and combined locks to part, and each particular hair to stand on end like quills upon the fretful porpentine. But this eternal blazon must not be to ears of flesh and blood. List, list, oh list, if thou didst ever thy dear father love. Bill.
Hamlet. Oh God. Ghost. Revenge is foul and most unnatural murder. Hamlet. Murder? Ghost. Murder most foul, as in the best it is, but this most foul, strange, and unnatural. Hamlet. Haste me to know that I, with wings as swift as meditation or the thoughts of love, may sweep to my revenge. Ghost. I find thee apt, and duller shouldst thou be than the fat weed that roots itself in ease on Leith wharf. Wouldst thou not stir in this? Now, Hamlet, hear. 'Tis given out that sleeping in my orchard a serpent stung me. So the whole ear of Denmark is by forged process of my death frankly abused. But know, thou noble youth, the serpent that did sting thy father's life now wears his crown. Hamlet. Oh, my prophetic soul, my uncle. Ghost. Aye, that incestuous, that adulterate beast, with witchcraft of his wit, with traitorous gifts, oh, wicked wit and gifts that have the power so to seduce, won to his shameful lust the will of my most seeming virtuous queen. Oh, Hamlet, what a falling off was there from me, whose love was of that dignity that it went hand in hand even with the vow I made to her in marriage, and to decline upon a wretch whose natural gifts were poor to those of mine. Next.
But virtue, as it never will be moved, through Lewis' court, it in the shape of heaven, so lust, though to a radiant angel linked, will sate itself in a celestial bed, and prey on garbage, but soft, methinks, I scent the morning air. Brief let me be, sleeping within my orchard, my custom always of the afternoon. Upon my secure hour thy uncle stole, with juice of cursed Hebanon in a vial, and in the ports of my ears did pour the leprous distilment, whose effect holds such an enmity with blood of man, that swift as quicksilver it courses through the natural gates and alleys of the body, and with a sudden vigour it doth posset and curd, like eager droppings into milk, the thin and wholesome blood, so did mine, and a most instant tetter barked about, most laser-like and vile and loathsome crust, all my smooth body. Thus was I, sleeping, by a brother's hand of life, of crown, of queen, at once dispatched, cut off even in the blossoms of my sin, and had disappointment unaliened, no recking made, was sent to my account, with all my imperfections on my head. Oh, horrible, most horrible, if thou hast nature in thee, bear it not. Let not the royal bed of Denmark be a couch for luxury and damned incest. But howsoever thou purest this act, taint not thy mind, nor let thy soul contrive against the mother aught. Leave her to heaven, and to those thorns that in her bosom lodge, to prick and sting her. Fare thee well at once. The glowworm shows a maiden to be near, and gins to pale his ineffectual fire. Adieu, 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 remember me. Exit. Now, Jim.
Hamlet. O all you host of heaven, O earth, what else? And shall I couple hell? O fie, hold my heart, and you my sinews grow not instant old. But hear me swiftly up, remember thee, thou poor ghost, whilst memory holds a seat in this distracted globe. Remember thee. Yea, from the table of my memory I'll wipe away all trivial fond records, all saws of books and forms, all pleasures past that youth and observant copied thee. And thy commandment all alone shall live within the book and volume of my brain, unmixed with baser matter. Yes, by heaven, O most pernicious woman, O villain, villain, smiling, damned villain, my table meat it is, I set it down, that one may smile and be a villain. At last I am sure it may be so in Denmark. So, uncle, there you are. Now to my word it is. Adieu, adieu, remember me. I have sworn it. Next, please.
Horatio, Horatio, within. My lord. Marcellus, within. Lord Hamlet. Horatio, within. Heaven secure him. Hamlet. So be it. Marcellus. Eyo, ho, ho, my lord. Hamlet. Hello, ho, ho, boy. Come, bird, come. Enter Horatio and Marcellus. Marcellus. Highest, my noble lord. What news, my lord? Oh, wonderful. Good, my lord, tell it. No, you will reveal it. Horatio. Not I, my lord, by heaven. Nor I, my lord. Marcellus. Hamlet. How say you then? Would heart of man once think it, but you'll be secret. Horatio. Marcellus. Aye, by heaven, my lord. Hamlet. There's ne'er a villain dwelling in all Denmark, but he's an errant knave. Horatio. There needs no ghost, my lord, come from the grave to tell us this. Hamlet. Why, right you are in the right. And so, without more circumstance at all, I hold it fit that we shake hands and part. You, as your business and desire shall point you, for every man hath business and desire, such as it is, and for my own poor part, I will go pray. Next.
Okay, Penny. Oh, Penny disappeared. Okay. Horatio. These are but wild and whirling words, my lord. Hamlet. I'm sorry they offend you heartily. Yes, faith, heartily. Horatio. There's no offense, my lord. Hamlet. Yes, by St. Patrick, but there is, Horatio, and much offense too, touching this vision here. It is an honest ghost, that let me tell you, for your desire to know what is between us, or mastered as you may. And now, good friends, as you were friends, scholars, and soldiers, give me one poor request. Horatio. What is it, my lord? We will. Hamlet. Never make known what you have seen tonight. Next.
Both. My lord, we will not. Hamlet. Nay, but swear it. Horatio. In faith, my lord, not I. Marcellus. Nor I, my lord, in faith. Hamlet. Upon my sword. Marcellus. We have sworn, my lord, already. Hamlet. Indeed, upon my sword, indeed. Next, please. Bill.
Ghost. Swear. Hamlet. Ah, boy, say'st thou so? Art thou there, true Penny? Come on, you hear this fellow in the cellarge. Consent to swear. Horatio. Propose the oath, my lord. Hamlet. Never to speak of this that you have seen. Swear by my sword. Ghost. Beneath. Swear. Hamlet. Hic et ubique? Then we'll shift our ground. Come hither, gentlemen, and lay your hands again upon my sword, never to speak of this that you have heard. Swear by my sword. Ghost beneath. Swear. Next, please.
Hamlet. Well said, old man. Canst work if on it so fast. A worthy pioneer. One more removed. Good friends. Horatio, O day and night. But this is wondrously strange. Hamlet. And therefore as a stranger give it welcome. There are more things in heaven and earth. Horatio. Than are dreamt of in your philosophy. But come. Next, please.
Here, as before, never so help your mercy. How strange or odd summer I bear myself, as I perchance hereafter shall think meet to put an antic disposition on, that you at such times seeing me, never shall with arms encumbered thus, or this head shake. Next, please.
Or by pronouncing some doubtful phrase, as well we know, or we could, and if we would, or if we list to speak, or there be, and they might, and if they might, or such ambiguous giving out. To note that you know aught of me, this do swear, so grace and mercy at your most help, at your most need, help me. Ghost, swear. Next.
Hamlet. Rest, respiratory spirit. So, gentlemen, with all my love I do commend me to you, and what so poor a man as Hamlet is may do, to express his love and friending to you, God willing, shall not lack. Let us go together, and still our fingers to your lips, I pray. The time is out of joint, oh cursed spite, that ere I was born to set it right. Nay, let's go together. Exit. Moo.
I'm sorry, I have to go. I'd love to stay,
Okay,
but
well,
it's
thank
dinner,
you for
it's
being
dinner
with
time.
us.
And
7:45. Thank you.
Yeah, I have to go too. Thank
Really enjoyed.
Okay,
bye.
perhaps we should the next time we meet, read this last scene again so we can discuss it before moving on to Act Two.
Okay.
The only thing that I will say right now is I'm sitting in broad daylight in a asphalt parking lot, and I still get a little, ghostly. Oh my God!
It is spooky.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all very, very much. Sylvia, I hope you join us again.
Oh
Let's
no,
see.
I was at a 90th afternoon tea party and it
Uh-huh.
went rather long. So
Okay. Okay. So we have one more week where it'll be at 6 o'clock in Ireland, and then after that,
Yeah.
yeah,
we'll have
yeah,
we'll have the
yeah.
6 hours difference. So it'll be 7 o'clock in Ireland.
Okay,
It's been
great.
fun. I really enjoyed this.
Absolutely.
So,
And it's
Yeah.
great that you pulled it together so quickly.
Yes. Yes,
um,
indeed.
I just did a shot in the dark, and I was actually pleasantly surprised to see that there were takers that were willing to act so quickly on it. So it's good. All right, I'm going to click the red button, and we will meet. Most of us will meet again on Monday next.
Okay.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Okay, have a good
Okay,
weekend.
William, Sylvia. Bye, folks. Have a good weekend.